right? It's cold and flu season in the beautiful state of Wisconsin. And we, our whole family has been under this like quarantine epidemic, right?
Oh,
Including
wow.
our dogs. So this dog of mine, the Siberian Husky, he's usually pretty vocal. He's always howling. He just was quiet and he started throwing everything up. And I couldn't figure out why he wasn't eating for day 4, right? And we took him in and immediately they asked we needed to do a $4,000 exploratory surgery on your fur.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
of course, as a fur parent, you have to say yes. So long story short, basically he ate a possum and part of it was still lodged in his intestines. So yes, we got it moving along. The path there.
Oh, God.
Yay.
Wow.
Animal parenting.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, we used to have a dog. Well, my wife grew up with a dog, and it would eat anything. It would just, like, you'd see it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and just walk by with a possum in its jaws or a big old cabbage it found in the woods, you know.
Yeah. Even like the furry coating on their chew toys, they'll rip that off and swallow it. And I'm thinking, you guys.
Yeah. You're missing the point. Yeah, we have a corgi that's like that. If it could just sit there and just nibble off the fur and then cough up fur balls and send my wife into panic afterwards.
Seriously, it's like a parental heart attack. Like, no.
Well, they're expensive little heart warmers. Okay, so let's head over into the sort of that workshop section. I'm just curious. What's always fun asking this is just different people would do different things. Like the lady I was talking to, Rhonda, in the last episode, or the last one, she gave an insight into teachers as community influencers, basically. And if you can reach them, they have access to an incredible number of families and so on. And I would never have thought of that. So it's just fascinating to ask how different people would do different things. So unless you have an idea that you've been noodling on in the back of your mind, is maybe it might be fun to do someday, maybe we can start with a prompt. I was looking over your website, and you've got this love for Disney princesses, and then you've got your own history with MS and with disability. And you're kind of already doing this, but I'm wondering, how would you kickstart a business to marry the sort of Disney princess hope for the future thing with maybe little girls who are struggling from a debilitating condition, you know? And maybe I don't know what that business would be, but I think you understand, like, what that connection would be like, you know? And so let's say that you can't ad spend your way to success. So, and let's say there's 6 to 9 months. So what exactly is the idea? What's the product here? Maybe it's fairy tale books for little kids in hospital. Where might you take that?
So I love where your head's at. And I think, well, first and foremost, right, if you don't have money, the only thing that we always have is time, or that we can. So first and foremost would be getting out and hustling, going out with the community and spending that time as wisely as possible, making amazing connections and building a community of thought influence on that magical combination, right? I was a lifelong Girl Scout. And Girl Scouts was an amazing, amazing asset to me because I was learning my independence as a young woman from a young age, how to start a fire, survival skills, sewing, cooking, all of these things. So there's definitely a way to build, you know, some form of strategy or mental escape that pulls the essence of the Girl Scouts. I don't know what that is, like community.
Self-reliance as well.
Self-improvement, right? And with little girls that are sick, going through autoimmune disease and cancer diagnoses, it's important to keep that mind stimulated with that magic and building those badges onto your vest. So heck yeah, that's how I would do it. I mean, shoot.
Hey, that's a totally different way to go, and I love that. That's kind of like gamifying your success. You know, if you can practice certain things and you can level up and gain certain badges from your bed, you know, without having to go out and
Yes.
do all that because you can't.
Yes.
That's even better, because that's now
Yeah.
you're creating community for the kids beyond their bedside.
Yeah, it's a fun activity to do. And you can have like an on-call Girl Scout leader that comes and helps you earn your badge in the hospital room. What?
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so networking, that's where you would start, and that would be what, starting by talking to the centers that are caring for these children, or who else would you be talking to?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The centers that are caring for children, the care groups like Gilda's Club or other kind of pediatric cancer groups, getting out into school districts and making sure that they're aware of a support community like this that's completely free of charge for all of these elements, right? Or, driven on nonprofits, because that's going to be a whole different area where you have to get the money to eat, right? If you're driving something like this that's free. So that would be another networking piece of the puzzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of moving parts in having a business of all ranges. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially when you can't just throw money at advertising, and you got to put yourself out there. I think a lot of us are in that kind of boat. Wow. Okay.
yeah.
So, all right. So starting with networking, then where might you go then next?
In terms of marketing, resourceful marketing,
Yeah, exactly.
offering, referrals or gifts for getting introductions or getting in, um, people love to help. So you can ask your community if they would be able to gift something in return for doing a good cause, partnering up with
Oh, that's beautiful.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a really great friend who is an infrared sauna expert. She has a spa, she has a tea house, all of these different things. And she would be so glad to donate, a week's long free pass to utilize the saunas all you want, the
Mhm.
tea all you want, in exchange for supporting a business like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The
Yeah,
community.
that's great. No, I love that. Yeah, give it a go. Cool. No, I get it's hard without actually like. So okay, so let's say that there's a program. So would you then set up time with a local Girl Scout, like a volunteer or somebody, to sort of create a program to then be able to go in and um, provide some coaching to the girls, some of that one-on-one time, or a couple of presentations like once a month, get them all together?
Well, absolutely. In order to build the foundation of the service offering, it's important to work with those mentors that are already nailing it. And I think that a community like Girl Scouts of America would be just so happy to include an offering like that as well. It's
Mhm.
volunteer led, so it's very important that you are very mission driven, and it works with other important people that are, it's heart centered, people that are going to make a change. So working with your local chapter,
Mhm.
and but also at a global level, an enterprise level, to get that approved, and maybe even under the umbrella of Girl Scouts, and having that executive partnership so that funds are easier to come by, so that
Mhm.
you can live that out. I think that's a great idea. And then you could also have Girl Scout troops come in, and instead of like an on-call leader, you have your troops, your girls come in and sing songs and talk about a music badge in the middle of the hospital floor. A lot of these really cool things.
I love that. I love how I love the bridge that you've created between your experience of the Disney princesses and then now the Girl Scouts, and that's something I'm loving with a lot of the newer the princesses, where they are pulling aside the veil a little more into that inner self-reliance, which was hidden. It was there in the older princesses, but they didn't show it as much, and it's cool to see more of that. We need more of that.
Absolutely. It's all about independence these days. And that's what
Yeah.
every parent wants for their daughters, right? And their
Mhm.
sons too, to not be this um, prince in shining armor that feels like he has to show up and shine and be strong
Mhm.
all the time, because that's not realistic. That's
Yeah.
not how life is.
That's not how humans are made. There's
Yeah,
things to maybe aspire to, but we're not all cut from the same cloth.
absolutely.
let's jump over now to the last piece, last two pieces. So
Sure.
in your issue, you have your favorite quote is "This too shall pass." It almost sounds like something from Lord of the Rings, like something Gandalf would say. And you've struggled with a lot of trauma with MS and growing up and so on. So why is that important to you? Like, I'll just turn it over to you. Why is it important to you?
Yeah, so this too shall pass is close. It's by a very powerful man, said by it's biblical. So it does root down into faith, and it does have that important piece that there is such a bigger world out there than just inside of us. It doesn't matter what faith you belong to, if you're agnostic, whatever, but it's just that important piece to keep centered and know that you have so much more control than you think you do. And the fact that time is the most precious element, and everything passes. Every tiny little moment is fleeting you by. Like, just like how you're spending time with me right now. This is a part of your life that you're never gonna get back. That's huge. That's so powerful. So for me, relationships mean everything, because you're spending these passing fleeting moments with people selectively and intentionally. And then you also have the piece of the puzzle where you're struggling and it's a terrible, terrible time in your life, but knowing that it's going to pass is solace. It's that hope. It's that light at the end of the tunnel that you can get through anything. Does that make sense?
That's brilliant. I love it.
It's an all-encompassing quote that it's beautiful.
Yeah. No, there's a lot that's implied in it. Like, this will pass just like all the other things passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what when you sit on grandma's lap and you're in tears and there's nothing that can console you, not even the chocolate chip cookies that she makes, and she's rubbing your back and just saying, "Oh, honey, this too shall pass." That's what I think of.
Yeah. That's what experience brings you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last prompt. So we have, why is storytelling valuable to you? Why do you enjoy it? Maybe were you always a storyteller, or is it something that you started doing more consciously? And then how does it work for you?
So I've always been addicted to imagination. My mom is the most magnificent woman I've ever met. In terms of her imagination is limitless. There's just, she never lost that spirit that we have as children, that I lost.
Mm-hmm.
I see it in my son, who's almost 6 years old, who has an imagination like crazy. We watched Mary Poppins the other day, where the new one, where the kids jump in the bathtub and all of a sudden they're on this underwater land and doing all these fun things. And I'm thinking, who thought of that? That's brilliant. If that could get my child to take baths, absolutely, I'm going to talk about this fantasy land every single day. So when my mom would tell me these stories and everything, and she still tells them to my son, I'm just blown away. It's this amazing escape from reality, as well as it is understanding reality. Because if you can't tell a story and understand a story, which is the basis of being able to then tell it, is you're not going to get as much out of life. You're not going to get that experience. You're not going to get that feeling, that emotional attachment, any of it. And life is extremely, extremely magical when you embrace all angles of the story, right?
No, that is true. That's true. There's a project I was working on a couple of years back. I was thinking of calling it the Fairy Tale Legacy. And the idea was to dig more deeply into them, because the ones that have really endured the test of time are the ones that have so many layers of meaning. And that as you get older, each story tells you something, the same story tells you something new. There's more and more to tease out of them, the more experience you have. So you're right. Being able to understand a story is actually something you spend a lifetime doing. And it's only those who really start going down that journey of, what is implied in a lot of these elements. Then it grows with you.
Self-awareness, right? And the fact that so many people are wandering around this world that are not aware and they're not intentional about how they live their life. So it's an expert like you to help them see their story and share that with the world, because they can't do that on their own. It's
Thank you.
beautiful.
There's, I love the attitude that stories not only provide meaning, but they're like little engines of meaning. You tell a story, and you give someone a little engine, and it goes to work inside them. So if they accept it and they like the story, implied in the story is our beliefs, our ideas, and they go to work in you. And a little while later, you might come back to that and realize that you love the story even more, or you're resonating, or all of a sudden starting to see more of the same kind of story.
Yeah,
They are incredibly powerful for
absolutely.
changing the world.
Yes. Right? Just like any kind of power. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. So it's
Mhm.
with great power comes great responsibility.